Oh, there's someone else.
Hello. Welcome. Hi guys. Hi chat. We are
Hey.
now live. They can hear you.
Hello,
Welcome
everyone.
to Hello. Welcome to BloqTalk. If you are new here, this is a podcast here on Twitch. It's just kind of a community VR podcast. I will tell you a little bit about myself, and then I will introduce our co-host. There's so many of you here today. Hi. Thank you so much. We had Atomic come in and rate us. He is here. Are you ready, Atomic? I didn't even ask.
I am a little worn out, but I am fine.
I was like, you can do like a really short stream because it's like a
I'll
really,
stream
really
an hour of audio trip.
Yeah, he stays on ready. And you guys tell me if audio is okay, if everything sounds good. So I'm Ashley Wright. I'm a streamer here on Twitch, and I am joined by my co-host Atomic, as well as the team behind Audio Trip and SwanVR. So we have like so much to talk about and like so much to go over, and like we have game keys to give you guys, and we're going to talk about like viral VR videos and like making VR games and like dancing in VR and like all sorts of really cool stuff. So we're going to be kind of giving away keys all show, so I'll go over that really quick and then we'll start right away with the questions. So make sure you do !trip to enter. You have to be following and you have to be present, and you have to like get your key really quick because we have a lot of them. So you have to respond really, really fast to Hammer. Okay. All right. So we'll just go through and let everybody kind of introduce themselves, and we'll just kind of go down the line. So let's start with Atomic.
Well, I'm Atomic. You guys already know me. I am currently ranked 2 global in Beat Saber. I've played a lot of tournaments. My life is Beat Saber. And that's kind of it, I guess. Yeah. I love Beat Saber, and I love the VR community. Smile.
And D&D.
And D&D. I love D&D. I play that shit 12 hours a week.
Very true. Every Saturday. Oh, he is? I don't know what's wrong with my mic. I'll turn him down a little bit. Alrighty. And then we're also joined by Ashley and Brady. So there's 2 Ashleys here today.
Yeah.
From Kinemotik. So tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Hi, I'm Ashley Cooper. I am half of Kinemotik, and I am a licensed architect and dancer turned VR game dev a couple years ago. And I've spent pretty much 2.5 years solid only ever thinking about and working on Audio Trip. And pretty much all I do now, and dance in VR. I do that a lot. So
Very
that's
cool.
my quick story.
And I am like really excited to talk more about my cat is like laying on my mic and pulling it away and making it work. I'm really excited to talk about your story because our stories are kind of similar, and that we both were kind of, but I don't want to start it yet because I do this tangent thing. And then Brady, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Brady Wright. I'm the other half of Kinemotik Studios, and I'm the engineer and co-designer. I previously worked for Alchemy Labs, so I did some job simulator and vacation simulator, and a tiny bit on Rick and Morty. So that's kind of my other VR experience. Prior to that, I was just kind of doing my own VR projects. Nothing that was ever released prior to that. But I've been doing game development for, I think, 13 years now, something like that.
Oh my god, so cool. So I want to talk a lot about that because you've been in game development for forever, which I think is really cool. I'm gonna scream, you guys. I'm trying. Yes, we're gonna answer a lot of questions too at the end of the show. So if you have questions that you want to ask, get those all gathered up because we're gonna kind of go over every. I don't know what's wrong with it, you guys. Am I loud in Discord? Why is it I could switch to my index. That'd be kind of weird, but I could make it happen here. I'll let Atomic ask questions. Atomic, be my co-host.
Okay. Well, I have a personal question while playing Audio Trip, and I've noticed that it's not entirely similar, but it is similar to Synth Riders, and I just want to know, is the game itself like inspired by it, or was it just so happened that it's, kind of the same concept type?
Yeah, great question. We get it a lot, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So 2.5 years ago, when we thought, hey, let's quit our nice cushy jobs and start a company together and do VR, we had never even heard of any of the other games like that. I think the only thing that was even remotely out that was like that was Audio Shield. And I actually played it after we had thought about something like this. But the entire prompt for making this game was that we wanted to get people to use their play space in VR and really just open their chest and start moving around. Time, like Job Simulator was the game to play, and it was only kind of right in front of you, barely hands around. So we just really wanted to see how much you could really move around VR. And then we had played other games, like Brady had played a couple games that made you feel really awesome. You power poses that you sort of adapt when you played it. And I thought, well, I've been dancing my whole life, and we like this music that we mutually love, and we heard one of the songs, Red, that inspired the whole game. Brady came home and he was like, I listened to it and I just want to run. It just makes me feel so awesome. And I was like, that's it, let's do it. So how do we get people to move around in VR? And what we had at the time to use was our head and our hands. So you have those three things that you can track. And we started from there. We thought, okay, you move through a space, we'll use the inspiring music, we'll use background dance, and we'll see how far we can go with it.
Yeah, so actually, she touched on it briefly there. There was a demo, it was like kind of a tech demo that I had tried out at a VR conference in 2015. That was kind of like a Discs of Tron sort of thing, but it had no controllers. And in fact, I think it was before the Vive had come out, so there weren't really. It was really hard to get your hands on any kind of hand controllers for VR. So it used Connect, and so it was kind of like full body gestures, and that's how you played. So you put your body in these different poses to do different actions. And I had this realization that just these postures that you put your body in made me feel really good after playing, because the gameplay itself wasn't that interesting. But after I had finished playing, I just realized it felt like really positive and really good. And so I was talking to Ashley about that a couple of years later, and that kind of struck a chord with her experience with dance and yoga. And we decided we really want to do something that's like really physical and really about like body positions and stuff like that. So, and then kind of the first, as far as the gameplay elements, kind of what you asked about, what we did is we had like the song that was the inspiration that she mentioned, and it was actually a couple of songs. That was the first one, and then there's a second one, Anemone, which is also in. I think that's actually the one that we videoed when we did the test. So what we did is I said, okay, we need to figure out what gameplay elements we need, like what does our palette need to look like to be able to enable all the different movements we're going to want to enable.
Which is so funny that you say that, because, and I hate to interrupt, but when
Sure.
I first played it, I played it for Atomic was in the call, and I think Toad was in the call, maybe Laurel was in the call. The very first time I had ever opened it up, and I just was like screaming the very first map that I played, and I was like, let me tell you what it feels like. So I've taken years and years of dance. I've taken tap, hip hop, ballet, and I think those are the major ones. Hip hop's my favorite.
It's kind of crazy because this Ashley also loves to dance. So
yeah, and so when I was like screaming and I was like dancing. I'm like, you're literally just dancing. I said, what it feels like is like somebody danced and they figured out what you needed to make people put their bodies into those positions. And when I start to freak out in the game, I just dance and then I'm better. Like it, and I can play everything on expert now, by the way.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So I was like screaming, and I said that to you guys as soon as I played it. I was like, this is what it feels like to me. And you said, it's really funny because it's literally what we did.
It's literally what we did. Brady was like, we gotta figure out how we do this. So just start dancing. I'll just watch you.
Yeah, I said start, just kind of freestyle it and do whatever comes natural, and I'll video you. And then we'll go back and watch the video and kind of analyze and see what types of movements you're doing, and then figure out like what kind of gameplay elements we would do to communicate.
Well, and it's funny because like
movements.
The walls too, they make you do a lot of the very like the basic stances and like ballet and stuff, and like there's very like basic hip hop things that if you just do them while you're playing the songs, and I know this sounds crazy, you guys, but until you play it, you're not gonna understand. They make the songs so much easier to play. And I was actually showing Atomic earlier today, like I was on cam and I was like, here, just watch, and like I literally just dance while I play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one interesting thing was we actually didn't have barriers in the kind of iteration of the game we had. Instead, what we did is we had head targets. So we had one color for your right hand, one color for your left hand, and a color that was for your head, to try to like direct people's heads into a particular position. And that didn't really work the way we wanted to, because it didn't feel right having a somewhat solid object rushing at your face.
Right.
So we thought, well, maybe we
put
need...
your face here.
Yeah.
That's a little weird.
Yeah, it was a little weird. So we decided to go a different way eventually and make it more about avoiding. So the goal was still to move people's heads around, kind of prescribe where your head needed to be. And so we had the barriers instead. And then the reason, a lot of people don't realize that you can hit the barriers with your hands as well.
We realized that really quickly. We realized that. We were like, what is happening? Oh,
I'm so used to Beat Saber where it doesn't matter if the sabers are in the walls, and
also,
I kept leaving my hands in it, and it was kind of making me mad. I'm like, why am I hitting these walls?
I was freaking out because my audio was freaking out, and I completely forgot. But SwanVR is also here. We did not have her introduce herself. Atomic, I'm gonna blame you for this.
You guys had mic issues.
Yeah,
no, that's okay. Like, I could totally come in later for like the marketing.
I went out of my order of operations, and like when that happens, everything. So Swan is here, and I love her so much, you guys. I got to meet her at OC6, and she's so wonderful. And we actually like talk all the time now, and she's interested in my life because she's a wonderful person. So she is responsible for like one of the first viral VR videos, and I've talked about this with a lot of people. Like, it was kind of one of the first where the public, I guess regular consumers, got to see how VR felt for us, because until then it was really difficult to watch somebody in VR without like mixed reality and things like that and kind of understand how immersive and how cool it was. And so this was really like one of the first like breakout videos. I know a lot of you guys started playing Beat Saber because of that escape video, so she's going to be talking about that. So, and I just kind of introduced you for you, but tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Okay,
thank you so much for being here.
No problem. Thanks for the invite and thanks for hosting us. So I'm Swan, also known as Swan, which is my nickname because nobody can pronounce my real Chinese name. And then I go by SwanVR. And I basically work as a VR amplifier because I really love VR. Just going back on my history, I ran into Live in 2017 of April, and they were demoing the earlier prototype of the Cube, and I was like, this is amazing! And I was playing like Fruit Ninja. I'm like, this is gonna be amazing! And then a year later, like less than a year later, Six hired me on to like work.
Who does she remind you guys of though? Like for
yeah.
It's literally, oh my god, I love everything about VR. I love every rhythm game.
I love it. So like my job, like I'm trying to create this like new need for like all developers and everything else is just like a VR amplifier, like a position instead of just like a marketing kind of person. It's like a VR amplifier to share the love of VR and to get like, it's an infection to get other people. It's like a viral infection to get more people to fall in love with VR as much as we have, because with VR, you really have to experience it to understand it. And that's why the Beat Saber video went so viral, is because nobody at the time knew what was mixed reality video. Nobody knew what was Live. Nobody knew what was Beat Saber. So nobody knew what was anything. So I would get questions in my DMs, be like, how do I play this game? And I'm like, well, you need a headset. And people would be like, oh, I have like a Google Cardboard. Does that work? And you're like, oh my God, like I have to like really educate people as to what is VR. So that's something I'm doing right now as like a thing along with my current job, which is creative director of marketing for Andromeda Entertainment, who is like the publisher behind Audio Trip. And before that, I was like basically working as an amplifier for Live, and I'm still in communication with the Live guys and YUR with Six. So we're all like a big family right now.
I mean, it's literally like I say this all the time on the show. Like we are, and Gravity's gonna make fun of me, but like we are the beginning of this like huge thing that's kind of starting. And we really are kind of laying the foundation for the future of that. But I mean, that's the first thing I say too when I'm talking to anybody that's making games or they're asking me for my feedback, because that's started to happen recently, which is quite weird. But the first thing I say when they ask about community building is like, care about your community. And if you can't care about the product and the community that you're making, you have to hire people that do. Like hire people that are just crazy about your product, because they are going to be the one that sell it.
Yeah, it's I think passion over credentials. I think that's the strongest thing, because how I got my start was like I didn't have any credentials in VR actually. I discovered VR way back at the end of 2016, started going into it, met Liv 2017, and then went viral with Beat Saber 2018. So the industry is still really young, that you can make a huge impact. And also it's a great space to kind of really play around and kind of like, you know, do something amazing, because there's not that much saturation and there's not that much competition right now.
Exactly, and that's something that we talk about a lot on the show too, is like if it doesn't exist, create it, right? Like make it for yourself, which I think is a really good way to like segue into Brady touched on it a little bit earlier, but our history with VR gaming. So like myself, like I've been gaming forever. I actually got my first VR headset way before Beat Saber came out because I was just very interested in VR. It was something I had always wanted. And then, as you guys know, I had surgery in 2018, and I used Beat Saber to recover from my spine surgery. So I used it to kind of teach me to walk again. And that's kind of how I got involved in all of this. And it's changed my life so dramatically that I started doing podcasts and doing VR parties and doing street teams and things like that. But I've just kind of always been into gaming. So Brady has also mentioned something about like 13 years just with game development and things like that. Tell me a little bit about how you guys all got into VR and into like gaming in general. We can start with Atomic. You go first.
With me. VR. I've always watched a lot of VR content, and I thought it was super cool. But back when it was only Oculus and they only had the first headsets that was just desktop, wasn't really that interesting to me. I thought it was something cool to watch, but not something I would really get into until like VR chat, like 2 years ago, whenever VR chat was like really popular. I loved it. I was like, I want VR and I want to play this game and I want to play everything. And I remember getting my headset like almost a year and a half ago, or almost 2 years ago. I got it. I remember I was sitting at my desk with a friend and we were playing VR chat and desktop, and I was just like, I slammed my hand on my desk. I'm like, that's it. I'm going to get a headset right now. So I drove to Best Buy, bought an Oculus right then and there, brought it back, and then found out my PC was not good enough for VR. And that was depressing.
Oh my God. Which is one of the gatekeeping things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I think that we've all kind of experienced the transformation of that as the Quest is coming out and the more like, you know, portable things are coming out and just less and less PC restrictive. What about you guys, Brady and Ashley? Tell me a little bit about your origin story with VR. How did you? Was it just right out of the gate?
Go first on this because of his illustrious career.
Well, I mean, it was kind of like everybody. So I'm actually 42, and so I grew up really like kind of in the Lawnmower Man days, you know, when that movie came out, and there was a big kind of public fascination with VR at that time. And it just kind of was it was sold this idea to everyone like this fantastic thing that VR could be, but it was really disappointing because the technology wasn't even close to enabling that. So I think everybody who, you know, was a kid at that time got really, really excited about it in theory and then was very disenchanted. But we were all kind of in a very like lines way, holding out for, you know, our knight in shining armor to come along and make it a reality. And that finally happened, you know, years later. So in all that time, I'd been really interested in the idea, but I was kind of skeptical, just like a lot of people. And it wasn't until I finally, I had tried the DK1, and it wasn't quite there for me because, of course, it was just 3DOF, and also it had a lot of like centering issues. Like it would drift, your head would kind of like rotate very slowly. Well, not slowly enough. You could definitely notice it. And so it wasn't until I finally tried a DK2 at a Unite conference and was just really, really impressed by it finally. And so I was like, okay, that's it. I've got to start deving for this. So I ordered one of the last DK2s before they ended the orders for those. And I started developing
literally, like,
right away on that.
The very beginning is what you're talking about. If chat doesn't know, like, this is like DevTool type VR. So do you remember like the first time you put on a headset and you were like, this is the future? Like where you had that VR, do you know what I mean? That VR moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it
Tell
was.
Tell me, I wanna.
No, it was actually, I think when I first tried the DK2, or it actually wasn't Crystal Cove or something like that. It was like very similar to the DK2 that they were taking orders for, and it was Vox Machina. I don't know if anyone's played that. It came out a few months ago, I think, but it had been in development for a really long time. It's like this big mech battle kind of thing where you're sitting inside a cockpit inside a giant mech, and it was really, really cool because the cockpit was so well rendered and designed, and you're sitting there and you really feel like you're inside this cockpit. You see the control panels arrayed around you and stuff. It was really awesome, and that just really, really kind of sparked my imagination. I was like, oh, I gotta start doing stuff with this. And that was just like gamepad controllers. There's no hand controllers yet still, but I was all about it even without the hand controllers.
And Carolee is saying that actually their VR moment was playing Audio Trip, which is that's actually really cool. I mean, everybody has that time where they introduce VR to somebody and you just see their face light up and you're like, okay, I have introduced them to the tribe, you know. And so it's cool that yours was with Audio Trip.
Yeah, it's a passion. She was super passionate about Audio Trip. She's like, I would love to help out and like build a community. I'm like, done, you're hired. Because it's a passion. It's that relationship building, it's that excitement. Like, you can't sell something if you're not passionate about it internally. So if you have that passion and drive, like, it pushes you further and makes you think more creatively.
Yeah, well, like Ashley, you said this was your love hobby? What did you call it?
This is like my passion project. This show is just like, you know, I just built it kind of from the ground, and just because I want to do this. I want to show people games, and I want to like give people a place to like talk, because I feel like there are so many people in the Beat Saber community that they love Audio Trip. They just don't know that they love Audio Trip because they haven't played it, or they love Synth Riders, or they love Pistol Whip. You know what I mean? Like, and I love what Swan has said about this too. Collaborative, not competitive, because we can't afford to be competitive at this stage in the game. We just can't.
Yeah,
we have to have content.
We have to have
like,
content.
Both.
Well, that's the thing. It's just like iOS released and then they had Angry Birds, but nobody was like, oh, iOS equals Angry Birds. Like, no, it's gone more than that. More games came out to make the iOS system even more expansive. Candy Crush, Worlds with Friends, all this other stuff. And that's what made the whole entire ecosystem survive. So in order for VR to be bigger than just a couple of games, it needs to grow as an ecosystem. So if like basically the iOS app store stopped at like, you know, Angry Birds because it was the first game, then it wouldn't grow.
Right.
Jeez. Yeah. I was telling Atomic, I can actually, when I first played this game is hard though. And I'm segueing again, but this game is very difficult. You guys really, I can't wait for you to try it. We've given out a couple of keys to kind of hype up for the interview, and everybody that's played it has loved it. The only people that haven't liked it, just for unbiasedness, and I swear to this, I've been told this twice, I've been told I don't like to dance, and it really is making me dance, and I'm not enjoying myself. And I said, well, you know, that's fair. Honestly, that's fair. Right? Like, if that's something that makes you uncomfortable, you know, maybe boxing is more your game, or, you know, something like that. But that's the only people, because I cannot stress this enough. You feel like you're dancing in the game, and it feels really overwhelming at first. You might feel like, there's some vision block things and things like that. But I promise, once you start moving with the song, all of the movements make really like perfect sense, and I want to talk about that a little bit too.
Right. I mean, that was the entire point. Like, we want to make you move. So when you realize, oh, I really actually have to move, yeah, that was the point.
Yeah, and I think one of the things too, and this came out in an Upload VR article, is just that when you approach the game, if you are thinking about it like, you know, kind of within the frame of other rhythm games that you played in VR before, you're probably going to miss a lot of the fun, kind of the spirit of the game, because it really is more of a dance-focused game that's highly physical, and it just really, sometimes it's hard to put it into words, but it has a very different feel, I think, than the others, and you have to kind of approach it.
Well, and I've said this too. I am known in the Beat Saber community for having ridiculous stamina. I can play like very intense stream maps over and over and over. I can PB them back to back to back. This game has me wheezing. It is so much harder. It is so much harder. And I'm not saying I still love Beat Saber. You guys know this, and I'm trying not to be biased at all. Like, I think this has the best mapped OSTs of any rhythm game in VR that I've played, and I will say that I love, and that is including Beat Saber. If it was just OSTs, and that's all I had, and so I'm hoping that the community maps that come out, because you guys are working on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
me
is
and
a-
Ashley were actually agreeing on that. We were talking earlier, and we were like, if it was just OST and Beat Saber compared to this, which one would you play longer? And we both agreed. And I think I played Beat Saber a lot, and I love Beat Saber. And I said I probably would play Audio Trip because
Oh my
it's just
god, guys.
the movements. It's just it. There's so much stuff in this game that just makes it so fun to play. I don't know. I didn't even want to end stream. I just wanted to keep playing.
I know, and
Amazing.
honestly, like, I
Thank
haven't
you.
felt that way since playing Beat Saber about any game, where it's just like I want to keep playing and playing and playing. So it released with 10 songs. The full version is going to have 20 songs. And yes, they are working on a choreography tool, and so basically you dance in order to create levels. I believe. So tell us a little bit
Pretty
about
much it.
that and like how close that is to coming out and things like that.
Yeah, it's the same tool that I've been using for years now that Brady first made me in the very beginning because we wanted to be in VR and choreograph in VR. So it is that tool. You are.
Which, by the way, Ashley is the main choreographer for all of the trips in the game, which is what the levels are called. And she is a professional dancer. So
Yeah.
go ahead, though. Yeah. So she's been using this tool to create these levels already.
Wait, what was that?
She's been using the tool to create the levels already, is what you were saying.
Yeah. So it's the same exact tool. I'm in VR. I have made all the levels that you see here, but I'm so excited to release it and have everybody else use it. So it's already made. It's obviously has been used for about 2.5 years now. All we're doing is basically putting finishing touches on it because it was made as it's kind of like
an internal.
in theory.
Not a good user interface. Not
like, what the hell is this? So it has nice little icons, buttons, and tooltips that we're going to be putting on it. But it is going to be pretty intuitive, and like you said, you could put it on whatever song that you want in the game, and you could use whatever gameplay objects that you and just turn it on whatever speed and start dancing, and it's gonna just lay down the choreography, and then you can play it back, you can edit it, whatever, and have
slow
fun
time
with it.
down and tweak it and stuff. Yeah, we've actually put a lot of effort into both the tools, and of course Ashley put a ton of effort into the actual choreography because we really felt like that's the heart and soul. That's what really kind of shows what it's meant to be. But we also wanted to make the tools so that they because we've heard from a lot of people that there's kind of an issue trying to find like really good user-generated content for things like Beat Saber. Like there's some really great stuff out there, but there's a whole lot of stuff that's not great. And
yes,
so
which
what
is a
we
huge
tried,
community effort that we're all very aware of, aren't we? Aren't we, chat? Thank you so much, community member.
so what we really want to do is try to make these in such a way that it kind of encourages best practices as much as possible, as much as it's within our power to do, so that when people create their own choreographies, that they tend to it's naturally like incentivized to be good choreography,
like one you can follow.
Yeah, the one that you can follow. Yeah, and we also can yield some like better results because you're feeling it in your body as you're creating it.
I've been really adamant about that. Brady has asked me times, like, you sure you wouldn't want something on the computer that just is a nice editor? And like, no, even if I did that, I would have to feel it. Even when I lay down some gems or rips or whatever, I play it back immediately. And I'm like, no, that's just not right, or that's so awkward. And I did that over and over and over last hour before releasing this, and still doing it all the time. But oh my god, I just want to say thank you both for saying that this is fun for you to play, because I played the other games. I come from architecture, and I feel like it's an entirely different world from the whole game dev world now in VR and I really haven't played many other rhythm games at all, so for that I have choreography, thank you.
Well, and also Ashley, literally put her body on the line to create these choreographies.
Yeah.
So in the closing hour, last couple of days before early access release, she literally did a stint, 30-hour, maybe more than 30 hours,
I did that
straight
twice.
30-hour like choreographing session where she literally took, I think, 5 or 10 minute break where she sat down. And,
Which, I mean, this
like,
is just dancing, right? Like, I play an hour and I'm pouring with sweat. And I swear to you, when we were organizing this and, like, scheduling this and stuff, every time I messaged this person, they were in VR dancing.
Yeah, I was like,
it was
okay,
actually
I gotta
very
go back.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was up, my heel like hurting and everything was like, oh, I gotta make this clean. It's gonna be amazing. And then at the very, very last, you have to do this after you finish all choreography. I perfected all the choreography at least as much as I wanted to, and then to the dancer in the game. And it's like, man, is anyone even gonna turn this on? Does anybody like Goldie? I'm going through this all in my head as I'm doing this final hours of like no sleep and stress and everything. And to hear people actually like her and turn on and follow her, it's just like tears started streaming down. I love it. It means a whole lot to us.
Which is, yeah, and that's what I was gonna say, you guys. Which is, if you're in here and you're enjoying the game, which I know Toad has said that he is enjoying it. I think Balin stopped by earlier. Balin showed up to my stream and said really enjoyed it. The person whose brother made the A one, and it's a very long word and I don't want to say it incorrectly, made that song, showed up in one of my streams the other day while I was playing and said, hey, my brother made the song. So if you guys appreciate anything that you play, like, let them know. And if you have suggestions too, because I was gonna say just one note about the mapping thing, because I know you said you're super opposed to desktop. I know a lot of some of the top Beat Saber mappers, so Hexagonial, who's a really well-known mapper, and like Mystic Mole, who's a very well-known mapper. Both of them started mapping without VR, and they would only be able to go and test their stuff by like going to an, like an arcade, and like that was the only time they could like play VR, going to a friend's house. So that is something that you might want to consider, because it might be an option for people that they don't have VR quite yet. But yeah, I can totally feel wanting to have like the movement and stuff. Goldie was gone for a few days. Yeah, she was missing when I was trying it out on beta, and actually there was a ton of changes just from like beta to early access. So I know that you were like in there mapping and changing things constantly. Also Iraqi also mapped without VR forever, right?
He just recently got a headset like,
Mm-hmm.
a couple weeks ago actually, and
It kind of brings.
it's
Oh, go ahead.
insane the maps that he makes in Beat Saber. Before he had that, it was one of the best maps you can play, and he always mapped without VR. It was insane.
So it's kind of like Beethoven,
I know.
like composing death.
Yeah, actually, that's really
actually, yeah, that's very.
It actually
Yeah,
brings back
well-
some memories of me, because like I didn't have my own VR headset for a year, so I would go to my friend's place. Like one of my friends was like only a couple blocks away from me, so I would show up with like dumplings and be like, here's some dumplings, and I'm just gonna play with your VR headset for a couple of
Let me
hours.
feed you.
Yeah, like it was good because like he was like a dude just didn't really know how to cook, so I was like, here's some dumplings, here's some food, and I'm just like in his room playing VR, and he's just like kind of doing his own thing, because him and his brother like have this startup out of their house, so basically they're like working and I'm just like playing VR in a separate room by myself. But that's the thing, like VR is still not accessible, and I'm glad that the community is opening up for other people to kind of experience VR and then able to contribute to the community without really needing a VR headset. That's like so inspiring for me.
Yeah, it's actually it's really cool to hear about it.
The file format that we have, the choreography is actually really simple. It's just JSON. So
we're very familiar with that.
Yeah, so doing a desktop version of it, like if the community wanted to, throw together a tool to be able to drop things in that way, that's totally possible and relatively easy to do.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm really hoping, because like I really, really, really want community support for this game. I'm really hoping that, and the maps that are in here, so the artists that these guys have are like amazing, right? Like the songs that are in here, like this is what I'm playing, and this is bangering. I can actually unmute it. It has audio. If you guys want to see a little bit, let me make sure it's not.
I personally love Red. I think Red's like my favorite.
Well, and it's funny because that's the song that inspired the game they were saying earlier, right?
I just love everything about it. The movements. I love the scenes. I love the visuals. It's like it's honestly and it's long, so you get to experience it for a long time. So
I do like that about it.
Yeah, I know.
When I saw 7 minutes, at first I was like, I don't know, that's kind of long, but I
Yeah.
enjoy it.
That's awesome. We wanted to do like even longer. We got really into it, but man, if you could get DJs that we know with full hour sets, and then you just kind of audio trip
We
forever.
literally go talk 30-minute set, like a DJ set, where it flows from one song to the next, and it has like kind of an ebb and flow. So like where it's more intense and then it cools off and then it gets intense again and that kind of thing. And it would be really cool for like exercise, for a workout, but it's also like this, literally like this trip, like an audio trip that kind of one of the names to evoke, and we wanted it to be this like journey that the music takes you on. So that's something we're still kind of thinking about, and we're talking to some DJs and stuff to see what could be worked out in that vein. But that's currently just kind of a dream we have. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
That's the one. That person's brother that made that song was in my chat the other day. Anemone. I mean, I probably said that incorrectly.
Anemone?
Anemone. Thank you.
By native?
Yes.
So his brother came in here?
Yeah, his brother followed and was like, "Hey, my brother made this song."
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Anemone was actually, I think that's actually the one that I videoed actually dancing to when we were kind of like trying to figure out what the gameplay element should be.
Okay, I gotta find that video.
Yeah.
I don't know what it looks like.
So yeah, and then Swan, since you didn't get VR for very long, do you remember your what was your VR moment?
Oh my
when
gosh.
Did you lose your mind?
I still have it's one of my videos on my YouTube. If you go way back to 2016, I went to Symbiosis Festival, and I'm a huge fan of Android Jones, who's like this crazy visionary artist, and he had this dome, like this LED dome set up where you can try microdose VR. And I'm like, oh my god, I've been hearing about this. And like he gave a talk over at Boom Festival in Portugal about it, and I'm like, this is interesting, a new way to create art and like all this other stuff. So I tried it. It was like there was like always a long line, but like at 4 a.m. on like Saturday night, I think there was like a big DJ playing, so everybody was gone and there was no line. So I ended up doing it twice, and I was like, this is amazing. Like I felt like I was like goddess flying through with like lava in one hand and DNA in another, and I was just like, this is the most amazing thing ever. And I was like, oh my god, I want VR to be my destiny, and I'm so in love with it. And then this girl, I took
so much.
Yeah, well, like
I love
it
you
was
so much.
crazy. It was crazy. I like took off my headset, and then there's this girl named Jessie that was like right in front of me, and she was like watching me dance and flow to like microdose VR, and she's like, that's so amazing. So we ended up becoming instant friends, and we both loved Android Jones, and like it's been a crazy journey, like basically going from that to like deciding to go into VR. Like I didn't even decide on VR until like February 2017. I was like with some friends, and I turned to one of my friends. I was like, I think I wanted to work in VR. And he's like, oh, okay. And then a year later, like my video goes viral, and he's just like, you're not human. Like usually people are like, oh, I want to switch industries and do something completely different. It takes them a couple of tries and a couple of failures, but you're just like going viral everywhere on social media. Like what the hell? And I'm just like, it's just meant to be. Like I think just being really passionate about it. I think the passion just really showed through, because meeting Six in 2017 and being like, oh my god, you guys are onto something amazing, this is so cool. And then just like kind of discovering Beat Saber through the Live team, like way back in January 2018, like way before it was out. I was like, oh my god, this game is amazing. And just like having passion for both just kind of just like showed itself. And also the fact that I've been dancing and flowing, and like I've been performing, like I quit my corporate job and ended up becoming a fire spinner and going off to like 12 festivals for like a year. And that really got me into flow state and like being more aware about my body and how to like basically be a performer. So that's how like, yeah, all of it just clicked into place. It's crazy how everything clicked into place, like looking back now.
I mean, yeah, it 100% was super fast for me too, right? It was just like, this is what I like. I have to tell everybody about this, and I can't shut up about it. And then I finally went to OC6, and everybody that I talked to at OC6 was the exact same way. And I was like, oh my god, I'm not crazy. Like everybody, I just belong here with all these people.
I love OC6.
Yes, it was the best, you guys. Like literally everybody that I talked to was like Swan or like Ashley or like Brady or like you guys, where it's just like, God, I love VR, and like telling me everything they're working on, and people are working on like all this really cool stuff, right? You're trying all these cool games, and like you're meeting all these people that are working on games and like making music for games, and they just are living and breathing AR and VR and MR and such cool stuff.
It's like such a new frontier. It's still unwritten rules. Everybody can just play and experiment. It's really fun.
Speaking of
I guess
that,
I didn't say how I got into VR.
Yes.
I was born here. No,
I was molded by it.
I am VR. So I'm, like I said, I'm an architect, and I thought that's all I would really do or be for most of my life. And that's why I had Brady tell his story. Because I met Brady, we fell in love, and we were looking at a place to. By the way, you aged yourself. You're 41. You're not 42.
That's how old I am.
I was like, I don't know what Lawnmower Man is, but I'm not going to say anything because I feel like I'm going to age him. I was like, God. I don't know what that means. And I'm sure nobody in
anybody who's into
I was
VR
Googling.
That was like the OG
VR.
Okay, we'll do like a community. We're going to do a community Lawnmower Man's like movie night next week. You guys should come and watch it with us. Well,
definitely.
We do like movie nights in VRC, and we all watch in VR and stuff. It's fun.
Like he's told me about it and says that and other people like, oh yeah, that's the movie that like defined. Don't see it. It's stupid, but it's the movie.
It is really
like,
bad.
Well,
yeah.
I need to see it.
Well, I love garbage. I like make that. I actually watch a lot of. See, I'm really into like horror, like B-rated. This is what always happens, by the way. I'm really into like horror like B-rated movies. So I always make them watch like Evil Dead and like. You know,
oh my God, that was the funniest
Dusk Till
thing.
Dawn. Yeah, like I'm really into like old like Quentin Tarantino and like Bruce Campbell movies. So I love trash. I'm all about like old trashy movies.
Let's do it. I would love to watch it together.
Yeah, we should do it. We'll watch it as a group.
So anyway, we fell in love together, and I thought I would impress him. And after work, real quick, I was sitting there, modeled the apartment that we were thinking of in SketchUp real quick, and put what I thought, would be a furniture layout that would work with all of now 2 furnitures combined, into one tiny place. I was like, I don't know, does it work, does it not? And I'm kind of orbiting around this model I made, and I made some screenshots and a little video pass through, and I was like, all right, I'm going to show this to Brady after work, he's going to love it. And so I sent it, and he's like, yeah, just export it to an FBX and we can put it in VR when you go. Like, damn, just went up to me. So I got home and we got in VR. Actually, he got in the headset first, and I was watching on his monitor, and he's walking around in our soon-to-be living room. He's like, yeah, I don't know, what do you think? I was like, yeah, it looks kind of small. And he's like, no, get in. I'm like, no, I get it. I can see it on the monitor. I been doing this for years. I have spatial awareness. I can understand 3D space by looking at a 2D screen.
Right, yeah.
He's like, no,
this is my
get
job.
in the headset. Yeah. And so I finally put the headset on, and that was my moment. I was like, oh, I'm there.
Oh my God. Like, I'm
in
literally
the
here.
apartment.
I'm here. Yes.
And that was it. That was like, enough for me to quit my cushy job with benefits and my whole career and say, you know what, I'm just going to create a company and VR now.
Which is what these guys did. I don't know if you guys heard that at the start. Ashley was an architect. She actually designed all of the trip like environments that you take when you're writing down the songs. She did all of that. She quit her cushy job at an architect company, and Brady quit his cushy job at, I want to say Google, but it's like
Alchemy Labs, which was
Alchemy, yeah. Google, yeah. And they started working on Audio Trip. This like. And they're a couple, they were in love, and he is super into gaming, and he was a dev and very into VR and things like that, and she was an architect and very into music, and so that smashed together is kind of what created Audio Trip. And they worked on it for 1.5 years, like, and I think
about 2 years now,
actually. Yeah, and 6 months into it, you guys got picked up by Andromeda. But I mean, that first 6 months must have been horrifying. What was?
Yep.
Was
oh
it
my
terrifying?
God! Yeah, like almost the first year. It was terrifying, and we went like we're having to like pay our own way on everything, and so we.
Well, it's like, okay, I did have a 401k.
Right, it's like,
and then that's gone.
And I would be there like staring at the ceiling before
And
we went
I
to
used
sleep,
to
and
have
he'd be
good
like,
credit.
"You're a plane about to down." I'm like, maybe I am. Maybe
Yeah.
this was a mistake. But I mean,
Yeah,
Brady
yeah.
had come from being an indie dev just on his own for a long time, and so he kind of knew the roller coaster of profit and not.
Yeah,
but
I had.
he's like, you just gotta trust, and we just kept doing it. We knew we were making something we really believed in, and sure enough, at the very, very last minute, Andromeda came in and just sort of swooped us up. It's like, here's everything you need. We're like, thank you.
It's just like exhale, you know, like I thought I was going to die, which is just so cool. Like that's awesome. I've been too afraid to do that. Well, and also too poor. So I've like maintained my separate job, and I just work 80 hours a week personally, and I'm dying.
Crazy.
But like that's so cool to me that you guys could just like, you know, you really, really believed in it, and I think that people are really gonna love it. Everybody that I've talked to, like I said, has really loved it. And if you guys get to try it, you know, follow them on Twitter if you like it. Like, let them know, and let them know what you want to see. Which I want to talk about that a little tiny bit. This is in early access. We've already been here for an hour. I told you it would go really quick.
Wow, very fast hour.
So I want to talk a little bit about what's coming. I want to talk a little bit just about the negatives, because there are a little bit of negatives. It's in early access, you guys, so it's not a complete game, so I don't want you to think that it's a totally full game. They are still taking suggestions and things like that, stuff you want to see in the game, improvements that you want to see made. The choreography tool's coming out, so that's not in there yet. Multiplayer is something that's on their radar. Leaderboards is something that's on their radar, but those aren't out yet, so that's kind of a negative.
That's personally something I can't wait to see is leaderboard, so we can actually see who's better between me and you.
I am so ready. I'm going to be number one in the. I told them that too. I said I'm going to be number one in the world at this game. I hope you're ready.
Yeah, that's coming very soon. Both those features, the leaderboards and the choreographer tool, are coming very soon.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm gonna smash it, Atomic.
Laurel, I can't wait to see you under my foot in this game.
Actually,
I've been really impressed with both of your seeing both of you stream. It's very impressive.
Logan's also very, very good. He's
Oh
like
my God.
Wonka Shake good. Yeah, he's
Logan is
good
crazy.
at everything. It's so annoying.
I'm actually proud that I can say that I'm better at Logan at Beat Saber. So that's like the one thing I have on him.
Yeah. True.
Is Logan even here? I'm looking over the list right now. No, he's not even here.
He was here earlier. He stopped by. He's in London right now, working on stuff. So he's a busy boy. I saw him earlier though. Yeah.
Oh
Doing
gosh.
some team friction business, you guys.
Team Friction.
Yes.
The best
He's...
VR esports team. Sorry, TG.
How many keys do we have left? What do we send it? So we're at an hour. I want to ask a couple more questions. I want to let chat ask some questions. I want to talk to Swan a little bit because we've been talking about audio trip for a little while. I want to talk to Swan a little bit about the turning point for you. Like, what was it like when Escape happened? Like, what was that
Oh
moment
my God.
like in your life?
That was the craziest. I'm grateful for it to happen. It was one of the most pivotal moments in, like, I guess my VR career. But like, so basically what happened was we created this video of me in a black cape playing Beat Saber because we were only able to showcase 4 of the 5 songs that they gave us access to. So talking about game dev, when we got it back in January 2018, like Beat Saber, it only had 5 songs, and some of them didn't even have expert, and a lot of them didn't even have just some of the things were missing. So we only had access to showcase Beat Saber, which we did for the debut of Beat Saber in the States, which was back in February 2018 inside the Live Cube with the Foundry, which is like this gaming space in San Francisco. And for that event, we did a promo with the song Beat Saber because we didn't even have expert in a lot of them. So Beat Saber Hard was the only one that we really had, and that was like the theme song of the game. So we decided to use that as the promo for the event to get a lot of people to come out to the Foundry and try out the Live Cube and try out mixed reality. And from there, we had a great show out, but what happened was some person just decided that my video looked really badass and posted on this like subreddit group, and it made like the front page of that subreddit. and we were going up to like, we were getting like ridiculous amounts of views. It was crazy. So I think it was like Saturday night, I realized something was wrong because I'm like, hey, we're going up like 10,000 views an hour. Like what's going on? And one of the guys in Live were just like, oh, some dude probably posted from Korea because Korea, like they love rhythm games there, blah, 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 blah. And we're like, oh, okay. Like didn't think anything of it, went to bed, and then woke up to like my phone just blowing up. So we're like, okay, we need to post a second video. So luckily I had the escape video, but like I wasn't gonna post it because I had missed one block, and I was like, oh, I could refilm it. But it's like the idea of like, you know, timing is more important than perfectionism, I guess. So we just posted it and we're like, okay, like just post it right now and we'll shoot another video and just take that one down and post the other one with like the perfect combo. And less than a day later, it was just starting to go viral everywhere because we caught the tail end of the Reddit wave. Like looking at our YouTube stats, it was like slowly going down. And then when I posted the escape video, it was going back up. And then all of a sudden it hit this hockey puck and it just went crazy. It was like all over Facebook, Twitter, like it was even on LinkedIn. It appeared on 9gag, and it was this crazy virality that just kind of happened. And I was just like, bombarded by notifications. I got like hundreds of friend requests on my Facebook, so I had to remove my add friend button and just kind of like chill out a little bit. So I had to turn off all my notifications on all my apps because it was probably the craziest thing that have ever happened, where like I was just having people from all over the world message me asking me about the game. They didn't know who I was, so they thought, like one person thought I was a game developer, so they were like, oh, we would like to hire you to make our game. And I was like, wait, what? Like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Like, even if I was a game developer and my game was going viral, I would not be giving up on my game to work on your game. So like, it was interesting. I had so many people from all over the world asking me questions, interested in VR. I had a ton of girls asking me about my dress. And I still, to this day, still get girls like PMing me. Like this girl showed up on my Instagram and she's like, hey, where did you get that escape dress? I want to buy it. And I'm just like, wow. So that dress is so iconic right now.
Atomic always comments on the way I dress, but I have nothing on Swan. She always looks so on point. She looks so cool. Even in, like when I met her in real life, I was like, oh my god, she looks so cool. She does, doesn't she?
My friend helps with that. One of my friends is a fashion designer. It's like Yoshi Zen Couture. So she makes these like sequence capes and like really awesome like goddess couture outfits for festivals. So I basically am one of her brand ambassadors, and I just like go around like, you know, festivals and handing out her cards and stuff. And like I am really passionate about what she's doing. She quit her job and became like a festival fashion designer, and I want to support her any way possible. So I'm constantly wearing some of her outfits, and yeah, like I love it. It's like being your real world avatar. Like that's what I'm trying to position. It's like, what's your real world avatar? Like, who do you want to appear as? Like, what are you?
I remember watching that video a long time ago, the escape one, and the dress, like it just made you pop out so much more than like like anyone normally would. And I think that's what also made the video super interesting. It's just the way you moved and the way the dress had moved with you. It just popped out, you know? It was super cool.
Oh yeah, it was really interesting because of that dress, people didn't know whether or not it was real, because it's not like a t-shirt and jeans. It was something that was like kind of looked like CGI, so people thought it was like a game character. They thought it was a CGI, and then this one person commented, is like, what anime is this? And I wrote back like, I'm a real person. So like I retweeted that out, but nobody knew what it was, because I think one of the reasons for the virality is like nobody had ever seen mixed reality content done in that way. So everybody was like blown away, and that's what caused the virality, because nobody had ever seen it. And I think now it's like harder to achieve that level of virality, because now there's like hundreds of thousands of people playing mixed reality games now. And I think like it's going to be harder to achieve that sense of awe with like new mixed reality content. But yeah, like
the bar has definitely been raised.
Yeah, it's definitely been raised. Yeah, you're playing it right now. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so now as a bare minimum for games, like you have to have a mixed reality video so people can get an understanding of how to play your game. So it's the bare minimum.
I'm doing my best, chat. Okay, I was trying to share it with you and it put it on the overlay and interrupted her. I'm very sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. I think it was great to see that, because like a lot of people are like, oh, that video, like. I've been on panels lately and I'm like, yeah, so the Beat Saber video, and everybody's like, what Beat Saber video? And I like basically post it again, and then they're like, oh my god, that one! Oh! because now there's so many Beat Saber
Yeah,
videos.
I actually had someone DM me like a couple minutes, or not a couple minutes ago, but a little while ago, and they're like, "Who's this Swan person?" And then I told them, and they're like, "Oh, her!
They're
I've
like,
seen
"Oh
her
my
video."
God. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I tell people what I do. It's like, oh yeah, like I make VR content, I do mixed reality videos, and I got famous because of this one. They're like, which one? And I show them the video. I'm like, oh my god, I was like on my like Twitter or like my Facebook or my Instagram. So everybody's like, that was you.
Ashley's dad, who's not into gaming or
That's
he actually back before, I think it was before we met you. He shared that video with Ashley.
I think it was like right after. I don't know. We had already quit our jobs and we were like deep into this, and he's like, "Are you sure you know what you're doing?" And then he sent me this video, and it was your video. I was like, "I didn't even know you were on Facebook, Dad." But he saw that video. Like everyone saw it.
Yeah, everyone.
Yeah, it was a huge moment, honestly, for VR in the consumer world. I really believe that it was a huge thing, and I've had a lot of people tell me that when I first met Swan, and I was like fangirling when I first met her and the Beat Saber devs in
Oh my
in
god,
real
Ash
life.
was telling me about all this.
Yeah, and so like when I came back, I couldn't shut up about it, right? Because I was so excited. I actually had to leave the after party at OC6 because I couldn't stop crying because I had met Swan and the Beat Saber devs, and I was so happy that I couldn't stop crying, so I had to go back to my hotel. They had to take me home. Yeah, so I came back and I was like talking about it, and then Swan showed up in my stream, and I was just like, oh my god. But I've had so many people tell me like I got into Beat Saber because I saw this video, because I saw the escape. I've had people on this show tell me that. You know, that the reason, or because that's how I always ask, what got you into Beat Saber, what got you into VR, and I've had people tell me the escape video, this one video. So I mean, I know that it had a huge impact on VR.
Yeah, we
were there for it.
Fanboying and fangirling when we met Swan at VRLA, I think, and she came up and was just like, "Hey, I'll try it," and we're like, "Okay, awesome."
And of course, she had like cape and fringe boots, and was like, "Oh my god, I want to be her."
Yeah, it was a really cool outfit.
She's so cool. I know. And what's great is like we're just talking about you like you're not here, but she's so nice and like she's so approachable, and as soon as she she wants to connect you with people and like wants to support, like she's just a great person. So I appreciate you so much, Swan. I'm so
thanks. I love this community. Like it's the community that really makes me happy because everybody's so supportive, and we're all trying to like show people the awesomeness of VR and what we really love. It's something that's really new, and we're like really being the pioneers for it. So being a pioneer, we just have to bring more people into the space and be like, hey, this is something really benefit from it.
Join us.
Join.
That doesn't sound culty whatsoever. Cult VR.
So since we've been here for about an hour and 15, I'll open up some questions from chat. And then right at the end, I'll do some closing questions that I like to ask, and we'll give away like those last 5 keys. So these last 5 keys, there's no subscriber look on these, you guys. Everybody who's you do have to be following to win, and you have to answer pretty quick when he does it. But other than that, everybody can win. So make sure that you enter to win. So if you have any questions, Atomic is going to take those from you guys. Anything you want to ask?
I actually have 2 that I saw earlier. The first one's for Kinemotik. So someone asked, do you guys have any or need any janitorial services? They want a new job.
Please, someone VR made. It's just Brady and I.
Do you make?
We're actually we're here in Edinburgh, Scotland right now. Brady is close to us. Come over, hang out with us. Cook for us.
Yeah,
please.
we'll let you do some beta testing.
Beta testing.
Very cool. And the second one's for Swan. I am sorry, this might be a little inappropriate, but someone asked if you were single.
Oh my god.
That was me. I asked.
Oh, I love you guys. All I want to say is like right now my main passion is traveling, so I'm right after.
Girl, yes. That is what I'm telling people. I'm
Yeah.
like, I have no time for love right now. I am married to VR. You know what I mean?
But yeah, I did get a lot of guys PMing me during the escape video too, so that was pretty interesting. But it was interesting because they also PM'd like Liv, and they didn't realize it was a corporation. They thought I was a girl named Olivia, and Liv was my nickname. So like it was funny because AJ and Six are two masculine buff dudes receiving a bunch of heart emojis into their DMs. So I thought that was pretty hilarious.
They really are, aren't they?
Yeah. So like realistically, yeah, like I'm planning to go off to Austin and then Amsterdam for VR days, and then Bali afterwards. So I'm currently in love with my traveling. That's all I gotta say about that.
Yes, I approve. 10 out of 10.
I'd also send Six some heart emojis.
Yeah.
Dude, real talk. They're literally that meme of like the buff intelligent guys at the computer, except they're at VR. You know what I mean? Like in their headset. And they're like, here, bro, I'll spot you. You know what I mean? Like. I asked a question, Atomic. Do my question.
Wait, huh?
Huh?
What? Wait. Did I miss something?
Yeah. Do you have a favorite song in the game?
Oh, yes, Red. I love Red.
Yeah.
I love
That's
it. It
awesome.
is so nice. And the fact that it's so long and that you can enjoy it for so long is just, I really like it. It's so fun. It's so fun to play. Yeah.
There's actually a really cool kind of story behind that. The composer of that song, he actually wrote it for his then future wife,
Raphael Frost.
Raphael Frost, yeah. And he actually shared when we talked to him about the game, about that song, how it inspired the game, and all of that. And he shared with us this kind of acoustic version of it that's played on traditional Israeli instruments. It was the version that he actually had played at his wedding.
For his wife that he was marrying, and it was like composed for her, but he didn't meet her yet. And it's amazing. It's like you can hear Red in it, but it's all acoustic. You're crying.
It's amazing. It's really amazing. I don't think he's released it publicly, so there's not like we can't really share it. But
yeah. But it's
hopefully
beautiful,
one day he
and
will.
yeah, we can just imagine how
Super
gorgeous it
cute.
is. That's so sweet, actually.
Yeah, I was moved to tears as well. It's so cute. It's like a slower, more acoustic version of Red, and it's like there's so much love and heart in it, and you're like, whoa, it's such a good.
Awesome. This is a special song for us. Also, I want to point out, so Ashley said that I designed all the environments for the game, which is true. Brady and I designed like everything together. We also, though, did work with one of my old coworkers of another architecture firm that I worked at, Brandon J. Richard. So I want to shout out to him. He is an architect turned concept designer for games and our game, and he's amazing. So look him up, Brandon J. Richard.
Oh, yes. So yes, a
He's
little addendum there.
Fantastic.
Brady and Ashley did all of the environments for the trips together, as well as, what was it? You said Richard Brandon?
Brandon Richard.
Brandon
Yeah.
Richard.
Brandon
yeah,
Richard.
too.
Okay.
Richard.
Two first names as well.
Yeah, two first names. Cool.
So, we'll go back to questions. Social AR/VR asked, how did you guys go about choosing music?
Good question, Brady.
Yeah, it's kind of a subjective thing, as you might imagine. I guess it has to do with like something that resonates with us, and like does it just feel right? And a lot of times we'll kind of get on a song and be like, okay, I think this is the next one we need to, try to get the license for it and put it in the song. And then after a while, we might be like, or put it in the game, sorry. But then after a while, we might, listen to it for like a month or something, and I don't know, I'm not sure if this is right. And then other times it's a song that maybe one of us is really skeptical about, like I have been for a couple, and then Ashley will do a choreography for it and show it to me. And like there's one song in particular, it's actually a song, it's not in the game yet, hopefully it will. So I'm not going to say what it is, but it was one that I personally don't like, just as a song, and she put it in, she kind of did a choreography to it and showed it to me, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And it's really, really speaks, I think, to her choreography, when you can take a song that you don't even like, and then when you dance to it, you love it.
Yeah.
I think
that was
that's
really
actually such a
interesting.
good point. I mean, even in the game, there's such a huge mix, right, of like music types, and I think that you do a really good job of highlighting those. Like there's the very heavy drum and bass one with a lot of the arms, and it feels like very interpretive, and I feel like it matches it so well. But it's not something that I would normally dance to or but I really enjoy dancing to it, like you said.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, that happened a couple years ago when we went to West. It was one of our biggest showings, I guess, over the years of development. And we had 500 people play it and people waiting for hours to play it, which was new for me. It was crazy. We had so many people run up to us and say I didn't even know that I liked that I could move like that. I want to do it all the time now. I thought that was really cool because it's unlocking this part of themselves that they didn't know existed, getting them to see what they actually can do and do even more now.
And it's a workout. My everything hurt the next day, my abs, I was really excited because my lower back muscles were really sore, but in a good way. I'm really good at knowing how I need to move because of my surgery, and just being able to work out those muscles while I'm in VR is a huge thing because it's really, really important. The stronger that is, the less strain on my lower back that my spine's dealing with. My abs were really sore because you're holding your core and moving back and forth for these notes with a lot of the movements, and my thighs obviously were dying. I didn't feel it as much in my arms because I come from Beat Saber, so but my flatmate did say that he felt it a lot in his arms because he doesn't play Beat Saber he doesn't play Beat Saber, so he felt it in his arms. So definitely a huge workout.
Yeah, for
and
me,
I watched you
my back and my legs.
squats.
Yes, I full squat for my squat. I actually can't bend my spine, so I have to full squat to do the squats.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think anybody should bend. I actually mentioned that in my review because I did the game review of this for VR Fitness Insider, and I'm please use good form because you really can just bend your back, and that's not good, especially if you have the headset on your head. It's an extra weight that's just on your lower back. So what we'll do is I'll put Atomic's question, or you'll put Atomic's question, or not Atomic, Faith Swan's question. Atomic will take that last one. There's a couple other ones, and you can start doing the last 5, but do them slower. Smile, and then I'll do the last question. Questions closing up. It's okay, Atomic. You're doing a good job.
I'm doing great. Sorry, I'm looking at chat. So you want me to take these last few questions? Yeah. Okay, so I want to ask this first is Walsk asked for the easier difficulties, did Ashley have to do any separate dance choreographies, or were the expert charts used as a baseline? I really thought that was interesting. I also want to know.
That is a good question. I actually start with regular, and then I copy that into the files, the setup that we have right now, and then go into it to make it easier, and then go into the same regular and make it. And it's interesting because we were developing the game and play objects, through the years of development, and so we would add and do elements we added drums at some point, and then we added what we call the dir gems, the directional gems, last, and then I would want to go back in there and a bunch of the. So I've been massaging it all the way through till launch. So I was still choreographing the day before we launched it for early access. But yeah, typically I start with the regular. In my mind, that's kind of how I thought the choreography maybe should be first played. Maybe not first played, but
that nice perfect balance between difficulty and leaving that room for expression and personal enjoyment.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool because.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We've considered the names too, because okay, well, I gotta start with beginner, and then I gotta regular, and then I win the game.
You're breaking up a little bit. You might want to come a little closer to the mic.
Hello. Is that better?
Hello.
Yeah. We can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, I get excited.
That's okay. Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. It's fine.
We've had people think so this is a game, so I start with beginner, and I have to move through the levels, and then win, and complete expert perfectly. And sure, that's fine if you want to do that, and that's why we've put accuracy charts and statistics in there for people who want to know that information. For me personally, I don't have a gaming background, and we've considered, if our names of the levels maybe show a different spirit of the game than we even concepted. Because since I start from regular, I would think that's kind of where the choreography was born. And then if you need to ease into it, you can start, with beginner, and it's the sort of more breathable version of the choreography.
Or if you just want yourself.
Yeah, like on the mixed reality videos that we sometimes I would want to just do the easy, because that's how you can add flair, and you can do like a spin or a shuffle or backflip even. I don't know, go crazy.
I was actually talking to Atomic about that. I was like, man, it's so easy. Like, there's so many places I want to like spin around, and I'm scared to, because like I have a chord, right? But there's so many places in the song. Yes, I know. Free me.
That's gonna.
Are you excited to port to Quest? Are you guys planning on working on that?
So much more fun. This game was made for Quest.
We actually have it running on Quest, but we're still working with Oculus through the approval process on that. But it's definitely something we're working towards.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Very cool.
Oh, and I wanted to point out when she was talking about how she does the choreography. The choreographer tool actually has copy and paste. So she was talking about copying it to others. So I think that's one thing that I'm really proud of implementing personally.
Yeah,
just like be able to like select a range and be like, okay, I'm gonna copy this, and which is good for dance. And that's one of the other things that kind of incentivizes, like I was talking about, more dancey tracks, because in a dance, just like in music itself, you have repeating refrains and stuff, and so we wanted to make that really easy for people to do that.
Right, like if you didn't get it the first time, again, and it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so excited for people to make their own. I want to see choreographies people come up with.
Me too, because like there's 10 tracks, there's the quick trip, and then there's the full trip of each one, so it's like you have 20 kind of trips that you can take, and then there's 3 difficulties. So I mean there's quite a bit of content, and I got quite a few hours before I was like, okay, I'm ready for other maps. It is very difficult if you guys are getting the key, which if you get a key, please tell me what you think of it. I would, if you're not in the Discord, join the Discord, let me know. I would love to hear about it. I had to start with like normal and beginner, and I was like mad about it, because I was like, I should know how to do this. But now I can do expert, and like you really do get better really quick. Copy pasta, yes.
Yeah. Speaking of like custom choreography tools and stuff, like I really can't wait to see Benny the Beast start making trips on this game.
I know, I need to reach out to him actually. Somebody put that in mod chat to me.
He's actually in LA. I actually hung out with him a bit, but he's just taking a small little break right now to kind of reground, which is what's needed. I think being too digital, you lose.
When you're plugged in all the time.
Yeah. I think that's something that needs to be emphasized a lot more, is like taking some time to like decompress and ground back into yourself, because I took like almost a year hiatus from social media for a little while, and then re-emerged recently.
Yeah, I want to see what he can do. I want a map. I want to choreograph. That's what I want to do. I'm excited.
I want you too. I want to play.
I know. I'm very excited.
I would love to see the stuff you would make.
Dude, I know. I'm gonna make you play it. We're gonna compete against you.
Yeah, you guys should have competing maps. Like both of you guys have one song and do a competing map versus the other person, and like I think that would be like a fun little competition.
That would be pretty fun.
Yeah, audience votes on which song.
I
would instantly lose. I already know.
No, you gotta get better. What else do we have? How many hours? So we'll do. I think we just have that one question left, right? How many hours do you think you put in for each trip?
I've asked myself the same question, and honestly, I don't know. I mean, it's been years, and like I said, we started out actually just with the 2 hands and the head, and then we removed the head, like tube as it was when this was Rave Runner years ago, and then we added barriers.
Added barriers and added drums.
No, ribbons.
Oh well, ribbons were like right at the beginning. We did gems and ribbons first.
Oh, they were. They just looked very different. This game is taking. And we were, making it up as we went. So we were inventing like how we actually get people to move, and then what dance styles, and then inventing this new type of dance that I had never done before. So, I mean, I have no clue. Like some of these at the very end, like Just Dance was one of the later ones, and Drift I think was the very last one I did in early access, right? To do regular choreography, like first pass at it, maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah, for like
at the very minimum, and it was only a 2-something minute song. Drift is the shortest one, so that didn't take
it'll
me
be
long at all.
interesting to see how that
I was
evolved.
inspired, and I knew the song, and so I just got in there and did it. And then obviously the choreographer tool was Brady was building it at the same time as I was doing it, and I was telling him what worked and what didn't after hours of trying to get around something, and then he just codes and makes magic happen. So it's just a work in progress. I guess if you get really good at the choreographer tool, you know the song, you're really inspired, maybe 30 minutes to an hour. But then like going through and cleaning it up and tweaking it and making different levels
honestly,
for it.
the way that it's made, you could technically do it in like however long the song is.
Right.
It just goes start to finish.
Which, I mean, that might end up happening because I remember when people started mapping for, Beat Saber, the amount of time. So like usually it's like a minute of song. How long does that take to map is basically how we kind of try and figure it out. Like that number has changed dramatically since the first iteration of Mediocre Mapper. You know what I mean? Like it's just gotten faster and faster. And so as people get better at it, and then as you do things like send your map to other people so they can play through it and give you feedback and things like that, having that sort of that constructive criticism and feedback will be, super helpful for people as well, which you had you guys to kind of bounce ideas off of, but not much else. You didn't have like a very large community
we had
test
public showings at conferences and trade shows and stuff like that, and it evolved a lot. So like at the very first iteration, very first thing that was ever choreographed was Red, and that kind of set the way it was for a long time. And then
we Red and Mini and Banger for a long time, because we were kind of testing those and testing the whole theory and thinking, oh my god, are we crazy? Is this even going to work? Sort of stage. But I think that's when Carolee actually started. She's here. She's now our community manager on Discord. She's like MVP, rave runner, and she wants us to actually come out with retro choreography. I don't know. We'll have to clean it up, but I think if you played it now, it's so boring.
But with each song, we learned more about what works and what doesn't. And then as we were adding gameplay elements like drums and directional chips and stuff like that, we learned how that kind of fits in the song. So it's really, really hard to say like it took any of them because it was such an evolutionary process, and go back and kind of redo things as we learned more and as we. So
you're right though. I mean, with the tool now as it is, you could pick like a gem on your right hand and a gem on, and then push go and play it 100%. Your song a minute and a half.
And I imagine
make you a minute and a half.
A lot of people will do that. Like that'll be how you do your placeholders for your movements. Is you'll put the gems on and you'll move through and you'll mark your notes, and then where you want to go through. And hey, if there's a so one of the things I want to just touch base on, we've been here for an hour and a half, so we're going to be closing up really soon. I'm sorry. Hey, Dorka, thank you so much for the raid. Is how well the maps, I know I said this earlier, but like, if you look here, I'm playing Bangering in this video, and I'll give you guys the sound for it. But the streams and things to the particular sounds in the song are so intuitive and well placed, and they're so purposeful to make you move. So like, look at these drums, and this is actually a really good example. It's going to make me kiss right at the end of here, like to accentuate the kiss sound. And it's like, this sounds really silly when I'm talking about it and I'm like freaking out about it, but it's so immersive and it does so well to put you into the song and make you feel like you're actually dancing. And it's very difficult to understand until you actually play the song. Bangering's a really good example of it because of the sliders, the ribbons, it's like the loud sound. That's something that you can really feel if you're a Beat Saber mapper. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You can really feel that in Beat Saber, and they do such a good job of it without like needing anybody to they didn't have these guidelines, and so you can kind of see it here a little bit with the streams that happen. It's so good. The OST mapping is so good, and the way that it makes you feel, and not just that, but like the lighting effects in the environments around they are also very purposeful. See, there you go, you can see kind of how they make you move. right. And if you've played it, please, I'm not crazy, right? Like it's really cool the way that they map.
Be very careful. You do need quite a big play space, so I suggest finding a moving around some stuff before you play, because I've hit my wall many times already.
Oh no.
I've learned where it's at, but I've hit my. I have like these shelves that come out my wall, and it's like just right in the play space, and I've hit it like twice already. So just be careful about that. Know your surroundings before you play.
Yeah.
Yeah, we tried to make the tutorial so that those first 2 gems that you have to touch are like way at the extremes, so that you find out in this very slow, methodical, time.
Safe way.
Yeah, you're reaching very slow. It's like, I'm just going to touch this, and you'll find out. Okay, I need to beware of this or whatever. So yeah,
that first tutorial is very indicative of where you need to be able to reach. But that's like you're saying, the extremes. I don't think I ever really go that far now. I actually could play and not move very much now that I kind of know how it works, but it's a lot more fun to dance to it, and I find I'm moving forward a lot. Yeah.
Today playing.
I will say, like we did play really early iterations, like on the plane, at one point traveling. So you can play it sitting down in a very small confined space. It's just not very fun.
And you'll probably hit the barriers.
Yeah, you'll hit the.
Don't
Try that.
It's like I was playing today on stream, and man, I was moving so much. I wasn't paying attention, and I ended up moving like 3 feet in front of my play space, and I get up to pick my hands up, and I hit my desk, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize I was moving so much. I was just like getting into it, dancing. Oh man, this game is so fun.
I mean, that was happening when I was playing with you, right?
Yeah, I was watching you.
I just like kept moving towards
closer.
the cam. Yeah, you're like, okay.
We have like this kind of custom chaperone, if you're familiar with the Vive terminology or the Guardian Oculus. We have our own custom one that's like much more to try to kind of show you where your barrier, your boundary is if you start getting up too close to it. But some people get so that isn't enough to that they don't notice it. So we're still
see it, you just do it.
Yeah, we're still working on. We're actually polling the community and to try to get some ideas, ways we can.
So join the Discord after you play this. If you have any ideas for how they can help keep you in the play space and keep you aligned, they've looked at some options. But if you can think of anything, let them know. The devs are listening.
Absolutely, yes. We're on there all the time and always polling the audience and talking to all of our beta. Now everybody thinks it's better, it's not. And we listen to all the feedback.
They do. And Johnny, yeah, we talked about that a little bit. The choreography tool is pretty polished. Ashley has been using it to create the trips that you will be playing in early access. That is very high priority update for them. That, as well as the leaderboards, is something they're working on. So that we've been here for about an hour and 40 minutes, and I have to go directly to my other job after this and close my other job, close my store. So I'm gonna do like my kind of final question that I like to ask, just to kind of close things up, and then we'll say goodbye to chat and take a little minute. It's so fun, Saneric. Did you play it, Saneric? Did you win? I don't remember if you won one. Did you try it already? Tell us what you think. I love watching people try it for the first time. Okay. Sorry, I get excited and I'm distractible. Did you try it? Do you love it? Tell me what you think.
You tried expert? Ha ha ha. It sounds like it went great.
So with that, I will ask, and then Hammer, so this is the last 3. Make sure that you enter to win. You can try it. Make sure you tell us what you think of it. Join their Discord. Join my Discord. Follow all these beautiful people. I will ask one final question, and we will slowly give away these last 3, and we'll watch those people in chat. There will be no subscriber luck this time. And what is the question? I lost it. Hang
on. While she's looking for that, Dank Cheese actually said like something that would tell people like, hey, you're getting a little too far away from the center, and like kind of warn them about moving back to their play space would be kind of nice to have in the game.
Yeah, we had that in place, but people kept on going forward. Like there was one that's like take a step back, and it like shows up, but people are so into the game they forget about that. So we
Wait,
played.
is it in there? Is it just that I haven't
in
noticed
there right
it?
now?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's in there right
so-
now.
There's a big grid that pops up that says step back, but I even do it too. You
It's
go right
bright
through it because you get
and
so.
it's like bright blue and blinding, and people still just go right through it.
Oh
so
my God.
Well, I'm
I-
blind,
Other
so I have an
things, like-
excuse.
I don't know, a voiceover of step back. You've gone too far.
Please
Yeah.
step back. All right, here's the question. So, and I'll tell you when, Hammer. If you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice, so this is going to be kind of for the Kinemotik
Yeah.
studio guys. If you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice before starting Audio Trip, what would that be? And while they answer that, you can do the first one, Hammer.
I would say, well, it's the advice I did give myself, and that is don't panic, just stay the course. When you believe in it, really sure about it, you're going to find other people who believe in it too, and they're going to help you get there. And Swan is one of those people. Thank you so much, Swan, for being at our side.
Swan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's been great.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's one thing. As far as something I would say different, or something I didn't know at the time, I'd have to think about that one. But what about you?
I know, this is a
Don't panic is a really
question.
good piece of advice, though. Like, that's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. My team number
And don't
for
forget your
Team
towel.
Gravity is 42 because of Hitchhiker's Guide.
Oh,
Because we get to
nice.
pick our own numbers. Yeah, so my team number is 42 on my jersey. But yeah, don't panic, don't freak out. Like, it's gonna be okay. That's what I
Yeah.
tell people. Like, no matter what, it's gonna be okay. Just do your best. What
Brady
about-
was telling
what
me
about
the
you,
whole
Ashley?
time. 'Cause I definitely freaked out a couple times the last couple years. Man, what advice would I give myself? Just keep believing in yourself. I know that sounds so cheesy.
It really doesn't. This is the time of the show where we're gonna be cheesy. I get very cheesy during this time of the show.
It sounds really cheesy, but I think it's really underrated. We questioned ourselves so much doing this. Even like hours before we did early access, I was like, man, does anybody really care? Yeah, someone out there is gonna, and someone out there is playing.
Oh, you're breaking up again. You're getting excited. Come back.
Sorry, hi. Somebody out there is going to care about what you care about, and you just have to find them. And like, this is somebody's favorite game, so they have to try it, and we have to find them. And we've had people like that. This is their very first time in VR. This is what they do every morning to, cure their depression. We've had also stories like that, and that's why we make games like this. We want to make people feel good about their life and enjoy it. So we're putting all of our heart and passion into it. I would have told myself, just keep doing that. Just believe that what you are passionate about, someone else will be too. So it'll matter to them.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that's cheesy because last show we had the synth writer devs on and we asked the question, and then they asked me the question back, and I was like, wow, nobody's ever asked me, and I literally said, just keep going and believe in yourself. Like, that was my answer when they asked me last week, because I was like, I really doubt myself a lot. Even before this, everybody that works on the show with me knows, like, I get really nervous and like I get sick and stuff before these. Like, I get so nervous. I was so nervous to talk to you guys because I love the game so much. And just like, it's gonna be okay. Like, you're gonna do a good job. Like, exactly what you're saying. Like, somebody's going to love what you're doing. Just like, go out and do it. And the worst thing that could happen is like you fail and you're back where you started and you don't have the thing. But usually you're gonna learn and like get better each time, right?
Yeah. Beautiful.
All right, we have 2 more, right? Sorry, Hammer. I didn't know. You could do 1 more, and then I'm gonna ask Swan if you could give yourself one piece of advice before setting off on your VR journey, before the escape video went viral. What would that piece of advice be?
Oh, it's hard to say. Like, I think I just fell in love with VR, and then I was just like, okay, let me just find out my niche. So I was trying to do VR tilt brush things. So if you look at my YouTube, it was a bunch of tilt brush stuff before like Beat Saber, because I'm like, oh, I'm an artist, so let me paint like, Miyazaki inspired like characters in VR. And actually, that's what kind of lived like Six to hire me, is because one of my videos I recreated Burning Man in VR and gave a virtual tour, and it got up to like 20,000 views in 2 days on Facebook, and that's what got him to hire me. So I think I was on the right path in terms of just pushing out content and seeing what sticks. I don't know, like, let's see here. Yeah, I think my thing of advice would be surrounding myself around friends, finding activities that's really grounding, and also putting myself first in terms of like just everything. Because during the virality, one of the things that had happened was I was so preoccupied with all the messages coming in and answering all these questions that I wasn't really like, being active. I was being more reactionary. So kind of taking the time to step back and just kind of reflect and figure out where to go a little bit better. So I think grounding is the thing that I would probably tell myself, like, find moments where I could just sit with friends or be in nature and just ground, because I was kind of being very reactionary, kind of very not really grounded. I was just basically reacting a lot instead of figuring out what makes sense for me and what I should do next. So I think grounding and taking some time to do digital detox is probably the
I need to
insight.
take that advice. Actually, I need a vacation where I just like unplug and like go to the mountain.
Ash works way too hard.
I work
It shows,
a lot.
like, it
Sounds
shows.
like it.
I just love this job, right? Like I wake up and like if I'm not doing anything else, like I want to keep working on it because I love it so much. And so you can kind of forget that you're working when that's the case, which is wonderful, but I need to be better about like chilling. Wait, I'll get another one, Hammer. It's okay. Whoever is the third person, they can just DM me. I'll get them a copy. You're so silly. And with that, I want to take just a minute to thank you guys so much for being on the show, and to thank chat for being here. You're always amazing. If you want to keep, please let me know what you think of the game. I personally love it. I think it's probably my favorite game in VR right now. It is the game that I want to play the most. So I hope that I've heard a lot of people in chat today, just this evening, say they're having a blast. So chat, make sure you tell them, join their Discord, let them know what you think of it.
Join their Discord.
Please, yes,
Please
tell
do.
us. Talk to us.
Laurel loves it. Kaysen's so excited to try it. You're going to be trying it today. Do you guys want to say anything to chat before we head off and find somebody to raid? And is anybody streaming it that won it today? Is anybody streaming Audio Trip? I will go raid them. But yeah, if you guys want to say anything to chat.
I saw some great questions that we didn't have time to get around to. So I just
Spitfire answer them.
thanks for showing shooting those questions out there.
Yay, Contour VR joined our Discord. Yes.
Yeah,
If you know
we
one,
can
if you know
answer
one
questions.
off the, yeah, if you know any off the top of your head, go ahead, and if you want to Spitfire answer them really quick while I look for somebody to raid, you can do that.
Oh man, there were a few. Trying to remember.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
So I'm scrolling. I think one of them
Yeah, I got really chatty.
was. Sorry, dead air. I know that's not what you wanted to.
No, you're good.
podcast.
You're good. We have music. They're listening. They're chilling.
Let's see.
It is hard. It is difficult. It's not ported to Quest yet. They are working on getting it ported to Quest.
Yeah, that's one that Oculus has the last say on that. So we're working with them on that.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, there's.
Oculus
there's
can
a
either
lot-
be really helpful or not say anything.
Yeah.
Their QA
we have
process.
some good people we're working with though.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a QA process that's about like 10 days. So if everything passes QA, then we will get a date. So there's a process, there's a system in place. So we're trying to respect that system and try to get everything, like all the T's crossed and dots, the I's dotted. So we'll have more
Don't
information
worry.
soon.
No cords for everyone.
Oh, I know one of the questions. Traveling
Oh.
so much.
Oh,
That's pretty. I mean, you get traveling for conferences, doing additional traveling as well, and it's been exhausting. We're actually really not happy to be settled here in Edinburgh, Scotland, for the rest of the year, and probably will be on that as well.
And why
Summer
Scotland?
just started audio
Because
trip
it's
again.
beautiful, and we can.
It's yeah.
You know, when you quit your jobs and work together, be anywhere else, why not just live wherever you want to? So,
But we do have to lug about 7 VR headsets around with us
Yeah.
in a suitcase. So
that's crazy.
Oh my god, and going through airport security with headsets. I actually had, just a quick story before, I had them take out one of my headsets one time. It was my Vive, and the cord like came out of the like bucket and got stuck in the conveyor belt and stopped the entire conveyor belt, and like it broke my 3-in-1. Yeah, and like it stopped the whole thing, and it, like everybody's luggage got stuck in it, and they had to like, it was horrible. I was like, I'm gonna miss my flight. Yeah, I was on the way to AX actually, and I was selling that Vive to Awesome, Rip Awesome, who no longer plays Beat Saber. But yeah, I had to buy him a new 3-in-1 because it trashed the 3-in-1.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh my god, that's horrible. Yeah, at least like TSA and a lot of other countries now that we've been through, I tell them I have a VR headset, and like they've seen them enough now that it's commonplace.
Take their
Which
quests
is
around.
exciting.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna find somebody to rate. Is anybody streaming Audio Trip, by the way? Does anybody want to stream Audio Trip? I have to go live in like 3 minutes, and with that, I will just say thank you guys, and I'm gonna mute and deafen you guys. I'll let you say bye, chat.
There
Say
is
thank you, chat.
one person that is playing Audio Trip right now on stream.
I showed 2.
Nice.
There's the almighty gamer who has 2 viewers. We could just go die of them. They have camera too, so I might go do that.
Yeah,
if nobody else.
Let's do that.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Just like a new person. Cool. So I'm gonna mute and deafen. Thank you guys so much for being here. I love you very much. You did wonderful. I'm gonna hop in just like 1 second after I say goodbye to chat. Say bye to them, chat. Say
Thank you guys for stopping by.
Love you guys.
Thank you so
love
much.
you. Thank you.
Loves.
All right, they can't hear me anymore. Did you guys enjoy that? That was super fun. I was so excited about that. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, you guys. The next BloqTalk that we have scheduled is actually going to be on the 8th, which is in 5 days, oh god, and it's going to be with the Pistol Whip devs. So we'll talk about Pistol Whip, which is another VR rhythm game that's coming out. So that's kind of exciting. That's in 5 days. I'm not ready for that. I also am writing the review for VR Fitness Insider for that game as well. So I don't know if we're going to have any keys. Actually, even if the devs don't give me keys, I'm going to buy you guys some keys to give out. So we'll have some keys on the 8th. Yes, I'm very busy. We're going to go raid a new friend, and you guys are going to be super nice to them. If you are not following these guys, if you are did not win Audio Trip, I really suggest you buy it. It's so much fun. I love it. I'm actually going to go to my other job now and close that store. So we're going to go find this new friend and say hi to them. They have a camera up. You can see them dancing. We're going to make them continue to stream this game. I love you very much. I hope you had fun. Thank you so much for hanging out. Oh, and after the Pistol Whip devs, so we're having Pistol Whip devs on the 8th, and then on the 10th, we're having the CVRE. So that's the collegiate league that just started up. If you're interested in playing VR esports for your college, make sure you tune in. We're going to talk about how you can get involved, how you can join a team if your college has a team, and how you can create a team if your college doesn't have a team. So that's really cool. I think that you guys are really going to like that. Thank you so much, Carolee. Thank you so much for hanging out in chat. You are awesome. All right, let's go. Let's. It's the Almighty. We're gonna make their day. Ready? And I'm gonna go put my pants on and go to work. Smile. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Yes, I'll be streaming some games tomorrow, hanging out. Thank you very much for hanging out. Please enjoy your games. Please go tell your devs you love them. Go tell your mappers and your choreographers and your content creators that you love them and appreciate them. Eat delicious food, pet cute animals. Here we go.